Hello, welcome to Oracle DBA02pro.com. This is Hassan Mir. In this tutorial, I'm going to talk about rollback segments. So, segments we have studied so far include data segment, index segment, temporary segment, and finally we're going to talk about rollback segment. Before we talk about rollback segment, you need to understand the concept of transaction processing. So transaction processing goes like this. User enters a transaction, then he may enter a few more transactions. Finally, when he's done entering all transactions, he either commits his work or he rolls back. Okay, so transaction example of a transaction would include an update statement or insert statement or a delete statement. Okay, so they are considered as transactions because you are either modifying the data or removing the data to represent some business event that is happening in the real world. Now, the concept is that either all transactions will be saved together, or none of the related transaction would be saved. Okay, either all will go or none will go. So, in order to facilitate that, we have a commit command. So, if we want all the related transactions to be saved together, then we're gonna first enter all the related transaction and then we're gonna issue the commit command. Okay, so either a person could do that using any SQL editor like SQL Navigator or Toad, etc., or an application would be doing that using the same concept, because the concept is that all related transactions should be either saved together or none of the transactions should be saved. So after, let's say, entering all the related transactions, either you will issue a commit command. That means we are telling Oracle that we are happy with all the group of transactions that we have entered, so Oracle can commit the work, and so basically all transactions could be saved in the database. Or we can issue a rollback command. Rollback means, hey, something went wrong, we are not happy with this group of transactions, so we want nothing to be finalized and saved in the database, right? So that way, in order to do that, we would issue a rollback command. Okay, so what is the role of rollback segment? So this is what happens. Let's say you enter transaction 1. Let's say this transaction is an update statement to a table. So we are updating some values in the tables. While we're doing that, Oracle stores previous values in a rollback segment. So let's say you're modifying name from Scott to Larry, then Larry would be Scott would be stored in a rollback segment, and the actual name value in the table would be modified to Larry. Now, as soon as user enters transaction 2, the same thing would happen. No matter it's a delete transaction, modified transaction, or it's an insert statement, same thing would happen. Previous values or previous state would be stored in a rollback segment, and changes would be applied to the table. Same thing would happen to transaction 3. Okay. Now, let's say at this point user issues a commit command. Now at this point user could do one of the two things: issue a commit command or issue a rollback command. Okay, so let's say user issues a commit command. Now as soon as user issues a commit command, Oracle knows that whatever information has been stored in the rollback segment is no more needed, because we don't need to store previous values anymore. We don't need to, because we won't be rolling back the work, so it doesn't really matter. So Oracle empties the transaction history from rollback segment, and the changes are marked as finalized in the actual table. Now let's say user issues a rollback command instead of a commit command. Then what would happen? If user issues a rollback command, then all these delta that has been stored in this rollback segment, all these changes would be applied back to the table. So in our example, the name Scott will be put back into the first name column, and Larry would be removed from that cell, And so this is just an example of a update event. Same thing would happen to anything that has been deleted. That row would have been stored here, it will be put back in the table, and anything has been inserted in the table will be removed, okay, because that information will be kept in the rollback segment. This new row has been inserted, so all the changes will be applied back to the table, okay, so that table will take the same state as it was before all these transactions happened. So that's the role of the rollback segment. Okay, so just keep that in mind, that whatever changes users are applying are actually happening in the table, but the previous states are being stored in the rollback segment. It's not the other way. It's not that whatever changes users are doing are being stored in the rollback segment, and once user issues a commit command, only then those changes are applied to the table. It's not that. It's actually the other way around. Okay, now rollback segment stores history of changes, as we just saw. Rollback segment is used if user rolls back the work, as we rollbacks the work, as we just saw in the previous example. Okay, another important concept that you should know is that rollback segment is also used to present before image. What does that mean? So let's say this is a table, and this user is making lots of changes to this table, and this user has not committed his work. All other users who are viewing the same table are not supposed to see those changes that this user is making until this user commits the work. So everybody else will be looking at the state of the table that was before this user has made the changes. So it's called a before image. So everybody will be looking at the before image. How is the before image presented? By with the help of a rollback segment. Because let's say this user has changed the first name from Scott to Larry, but everybody else is basically looking at the name Scott still, because this user hasn't committed the changes yet. So if any of this user does a select all on this table, then that means this table will be merged with all the history of transaction in the rollback segment, and the merge result will be given to this user, so that they still see whatever the state of the table was before this user has made any changes. Okay, so rollback segment is used for two purposes: to help this user roll back his work, and also to help create before image of the data for everybody else. Okay, so as soon as this user commits, now these users will see the new image. Let me go back to the previous slide. As long as this person is making changes, all these three people will be looking at before image. As soon as this person commits, now everybody will get a new image of the table. Okay, now in before Oracle 10G, DBAs could create their own rollback segments, okay, in any table space they like. In 11G, rollback segment could only exist in system table space. There was a reason for that. In 10G, rollback segments functionality was deprecated, okay, Oracle intended to retire this functionality in coming releases, and something else was came into the picture called undo segment. Actually, it existed since Oracle 9i, but now Oracle start promoting this concept of undo segment. In Oracle 11G, undo segment will be used, and rollback segments will not be used anymore. What's the difference between undo segment and rollback segment? Not much. The main difference is undo segments are similar in structure as basically rollback segments, but details on how they are managed is under control of Oracle. So Oracle is making things easy in terms of management. Now they are basically self-managed kind of rollback segments. You can consider undo segment as self-managed rollback segments. Option of using undo segment was available since Oracle 9i. So just keep that in mind, that rollback segment are basically no more available 11G onward, and undo segments are there, which are managed by Oracle behind the scenes. I'll see you in the next tutorial.